So we're back with Dr. Henderson. She's going to work with us to replant our tabletop unit here. So in a previous video, we unboxed the other one and it was super simple, plug and play. But now you've used it and it's got all kinds of sediment on it and old roots that you've cleaned out. Well, I tried to clean out. I did my best to clean out. Don't judge me. And so this unit has been cleaned and is ready for round 2. So this is what you need, and you'll have to buy replacements. Sometimes these will last a couple of rounds from the unboxing. Just take off the label. And you can usually reuse these, but they do sell them on an online distributor or at your random big box store, or maybe at a specialty store that sells hydroponic and aquaponics controlled environment products. Then we have replacement pods here, which are these cool little drop-ins here, and these are made out of a combination of core. It's another product that doesn't break down, but this is not rock wool, so these are a little bit easier for students to handle. They won't get shards in their hands. That's for you. And then hopefully you kept your domes. So after they were done germinating, please don't throw away your domes, because I don't know where to get these things from. And so we've been keeping our domes so that we can reuse them. And then you have, again, your pump and everything that's still included. Make sure you clean those really well and reassemble. And then today we are going to do some herbs in here. So we've got cinnamon basil, peppermint, and thyme. So we're going to do 2 pods of each for here since we have 6. So go ahead when you're replanting, make sure it's dry. Don't fill it yet. You don't fill it until after your pods are planted, but we'll raise it up just for purposes of not hitting ourselves. And so you can go ahead so there's 2 ways you can do it. You can drop this directly into there and then seed in there, but these pods are not as user friendly sometimes inside there, but you can definitely seed with it in your hand and then drop it in. So which ones would you like to start with?
You have peppermint. Let's start.
Great. And when you're looking at these, if you want to see, like, some of them are a little funky, so that hole isn't really exposed, and probably can be used for a larger seed. But like some of these smaller holes here, a little bit easier to plant. So if you're working with little hands or you want to be a little bit more direct, you can always use tweezers to help, because seeds will go everywhere, to get them down in there, and just simply drop it in there. How's that going for you? So I'm going to find, peppermint is a really small seed. I tend to overseed these just for kicks and giggles. So you can actually put as many as you want in there, because we can always thin it out.
Okay.
For these, we do not need to cover. So you're just going to add in enough, for that one, and then we'll give you another good one. We're definitely seeding these heavy because we just don't know what to expect sometimes. And so once you seed it, and you can determine, so when you're loading these things, the great thing about this is that you do not have to start it in a tray and transfer it to this system. It does everything in one system. It'll germinate and grow in the same system. But think about like the height of your plant as it begins to grow. These are all herbs, and so they tend to operate in the same height, but thinking about, like, if you're planting Swiss chard or something else in here alongside herbs, you want to plant your taller plants in the back, or ones that kind of tend to trellis or fall over in the back or in the front or on the sides, and then plants that are more likely to stand straight up have a little bit more turgor, which is a fancy word of saying the plant cell walls push against each other so that the plant stays straight up. So here's your other one.
Okay.
This is what's complete?
Yes.
So because we're doing, oh, you did 2 already?
Yeah, I did the one. You took it from me.
Oh, that was it. Okay, here's your 2. Hold on to those for me. Okay. So because we have the 6, we're going to load these in here now. So Dr. Henderson, we have cinnamon basil, thyme, and peppermint. Which ones, where do you think here we should plant the 2 to be the most optimal space for all the plants that are planting?
I'm going to do kind of one on each side, kind of like my peppermint here. Those are already filled.
Yeah, so peppermint on both sides. So now then we'll do the same for thyme, and then we can do, thyme tends to kind of bloom, so I would suggest putting in the front because it will kind of fall over, and basil is a more straight up plant as it grows, and it does get bushy. So thinking about it not overcrowding when we are harvesting and growing these plants is great to prune it. Make sure that it's not overcrowding, or what we call choking out the other plants, so that they have access to light. They'll have plenty of water and nutrients, but they still need access to light and space. So do the same thing for these. Is you can overplant, and we can always thin out later. Okay, and then our last, and basil is a bigger seed. So here's a good one. And these replacement pods come about 50 to a bag. And then the same one for these come about 50 to 100 for them. Just make sure that whatever system you buy, that when you're purchasing, probably, how big are those seeds? Oh, okay. That you find replacement parts that are comparable to the product that you're using. So if your area is circle, don't buy square pod replacements, because it won't fit, right? It's like a round peg into a square hole kind of situation. And there's really no right or wrong way to do it. I mean, it's a fun thing to do with students, a fun activity. So don't think you have to be perfect. And it's kind of cool for students to see sometimes why things don't go right. And you can kind of figure out and say, what inputs did you put in there to get the kind of outcome you wanted? And then what can we do differently to get a different outcome? So it's always nice to make mistakes in the classroom, because then it provides an opportunity for students to learn. So go ahead and put your domes on each one. We did not label these, but please make sure we'll label them at the end. But for these, because the starter kits have a little label on it, you can either use sticky notes or do a little diagram in the front and to show where things are, or use your good old memory. I think this is doubled up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So now that that's planted, Dr. Henderson is going to go ahead and fill it with water. Here's our water reservoir at the top. And what you want to do is make sure that you fill it all the way to the top, because what we want is these these pods to get wet. So fill it all the way to the top. Great. And once it's filled up, you want to go ahead and lower your light all the way to the bottom. And then based on the type of unit you have, go ahead and set it for either the seed starting setting, or whatever setting is for the type of plant that you're planting. And then you will nutrients. No, not at this. So when you're starting these at the beginning, you don't put your nutrients in for seed starting. It doesn't need it. But so if you're have nutrients left over, save those for when the plant is done with all of its germinating. Thank you very much. Germinating. And so for this phase, once you get to the point where the plant is growing up to the top of the dome and you remove the dome, then you can go ahead and put your first set of nutrients in. Go ahead and plug it up. It'll light up, and then you're all set to go. This is how you restart your unit for replanting it for your hydroponic desktop system. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.